Hi everyone, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open City video lesson program. Today we are discussing on structural functionalism and contributions of Talcott Parsons and Merton. This lesson is for the benefit of BA Sociology first year, first semester students in the Fundamentals of Sociology course. Here today we have an expert, Professor H.R. Jayapal, Professor of Sociology, Karnataka State Open University, Mysore, Karnataka. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And now we are starting with the structural functionalism and contributions of Talcott Parsons to the structural functionalism. Sir, can you say about the contributions or views of the Talcott Parsons to the structural functionalism?
Yes, sir, definitely. When we talk about structural functionalism, we now know that structural functionalism is a perspective, it is a way of understanding the reality, it is a way of looking at the reality. So, in this structural functionalism, there are two words like conjoined words, structure, another function. So, functionalism as a perspective was originated in Europe and it was systematically defined, and perspective as such was made coherent by Emile Durkheim, one of the classical sociologists. When functionalism as a perspective, the ideas of functionalism as a perspective then was disseminated to American sociological circle, it became structural functionalism. Why? Because functions of any society cannot be understood unless we know the context. The context is structure. Unless we know the nature of structure of whether it may be society or community or group, its functions cannot be appreciated properly. So, this is the logic or this is the reasoning. So, hence the name structural functionalism as perspective became famous, and there is no doubt in it that structural functionalism as a perspective dominated the entire American sociological field since 1950 and the beginning of 1960s. Till the beginning of 1960s, structural functionalism as a perspective dominated American sociological literature. Who made this perspective very much famous? It is none other than Talcott Parsons. Talcott Parsons is one of the famous sociologists that sociology has ever produced. So, Talcott Parsons made structural functionalism a dominant perspective. When we look at the ideas of Talcott Parsons, his intellectual journey begins from his work, The Structure of Social Action. Parsons' work has to be understood as the confluence or as the blend of or as the rational blend of three major perspectives. So, let me say again, Parsons' perspective or Parsons' views are grounded on three perspectives. Number one is utilitarianism. So, utilitarianism is one of the philosophical perspectives. We know that Adam Smith, Jeremy Bentham, Marshall, all these economists belong to the school of utilitarianism. What utilitarianism argues is every individual is rational. Every individual therefore selects a rational goal. He selects the best, he selects a good goal and correspondingly selects the best means available to realize his goal. So, since every individual is rational and they are very much focused on realizing their goals, this is a rational pursuit of their goals. Therefore, every actions of individual leads to greater satisfaction leads to greater happiness. So, that leads to prosperity of society. This is the argument of utilitarians. This has influenced Parsons. Second perspective is idealism. We know that Idealism means, idealism is a perspective which places more emphasis or it gives more importance to the role of ideas in constructing social reality or in creating the reality. Plato is one such great philosopher whom we can associate with this school, idealism, because Plato gave more importance to ideal, because this discussion debate is there in
ideal state.
Ideal state, that is okay. Here idealism means here like a philosophical debate. Idealists give more importance to the role of ideas in building, in constructing the society, in creating this reality. Idealism and empiricism, there are two like differing perspectives. Idealism gives more importance to ideas. See, we see rainbow. So, we can see in rainbow 7 colors. But does it mean that rainbow has only 7 colors, or does it mean that in reality it has only 7 colors? No, our human brain perceives only 7 colors. There may be other colors which our brains will not be able to perceive it. So, then how you say what you say is real? Do you think that what you are perceiving, what you are saying is the ultimate truth? No. So, these are the debates. So, there may be something beyond this, what we are feeling, what we are experiencing. So, idealism gives more importance to the role of ideas in shaping the social reality. The third one is positivism. We know that positivism is concerned with epistemology, that is theory of knowledge. We know that positivism as a theory of knowledge was propounded by Auguste Comte. Positivism, it advocates the application of the methods of natural sciences to the systematic study of society, to the scientific and systematic of society. Auguste Comte advocated for the application of the methods of natural science to the study of social reality. These three perspectives left deep impact on Parsons' views. So, his theory of structure of action included the ideas of these three perspectives. But Parsons, that is why he noted the limitations of utilitarianism. Not that every time individual, whatever the goal he or she pursues is rational, is best. Not that the goal may be a very best one, goal may be very effective. The means individual that he or she will select may not be effective, may not be efficient. Number one. Second, while action means, for every action of individual there will be goal and means. While selecting the goal of an action, and while selecting the means for realizing the goal of action, individual cannot always rationally think, individual cannot always decide on calculative terms. There may be some values, there may be some beliefs, value preferences, on the basis of which individual may select one goal over another or one means over another. For example, in India, freedom movement, so the non-violence. How to attain freedom? So, non-violent path. In some countries it may be a violent path, in some type it is a guerrilla warfare. So, goal will be the same, independence, but how will you attain? That will differ. So, therefore, Parsons wanted to understand what influences the selection of goals and means of actions of individual.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. What are the views of Talcott Parsons on pattern variables?
Yes, sir. Pattern variables, they are like alternative choices, they are alternative value preferences which are available to individuals in a given situation. Individuals has to choose between these two like alternative value preferences, value frames. At any situation, at any particular situation, and at any particular situation in which when actor involves in action, he or she will be presented with this dichotomous, that is separate, that is alternative, A or B choices or preferences he has to make, which he classified into 5 types, into following types. Number 1, at any point of time, I am a teacher I am a teacher, I am teaching. While teaching, this is a particular 10th class. Here, I have my niece studying here, or my distant relative studying here, or my son may be studying in the same class where I am teaching. How to act? Should I be affective? Should I take the stand of affectivity, or should I take the stand of opposite is affective neutrality? Should my affections be affective? He is my son. I should, since my son is there, I should take more strides and to teach him, to make him understand. Rest of the things I don't, it doesn't matter. It will become affectivity. Affective neutrality doesn't matter whether my son is there or not. He is, yes, of course, he is my son or daughter. In this class, he is also
equality.
One of the students. I should teach everyone in a same way. This is affectivity or affective neutrality.
Okay. This is one.
Next, affective self-orientation or collective orientation. Self-orientation or collective orientation. See, self-orientation means when I am acting in a group, when I am participating in interaction in a group, what should be my orientation? Should the interest of group be my concern, or should my interest be of only concern? These are the things. So,
okay.
Self-orientation or collective orientation. Next, universalism versus particularism.
Nothing but individualism.
Universalism means everyone will will consider it as a universal. Like it's a, so it may be brotherhood, so it may be like a fraternity, so liberty, equality, fraternity. So these are the universal. So I am against any problems of oppression or suppression. So equality should be our ethos, equality should be our value preference. This is universalism. Or take for Indian Constitution as an vital document for in this view, because it prohibits all types of discrimination. So universalism versus particularism.
Right. What is fourth one?
Among these, I will consider these three as important. We can consider the rest thing, but this is affective neutrality and affectivity versus affective neutrality, self-orientation versus collective orientation, universalism versus particularism. Next is there diffused, that is there. Diffuse sense and like that they talk about. That here the major three aspects, what should I say, diametrically or like binary things. These things should be of very much interest.
Okay.
Like that is another pattern variable is there, self-orientation versus not orientation, it is diffuseness and specificity, something it talks. That's for our students at the level of BA level, these three like pattern variables, of course they can go, but these three are very important for any actor in deciding while they are in action, bound to any situation, they face these three dilemmas, which one to select.
Thank you sir for explaining about the contributions of Talcott Parsons. Similarly, we have another sociologist, that is
Robert King
Merton. Can you say about the contributions of Robert King Merton for the structural and functionalism?
Yes, sir. And it's very pleasure to talk about Robert King Merton. Robert King Merton was a student of Talcott Parsons. So, in fact, Robert Merton, in fact, he can be credited for saving structural functionalism from from onslaught, like from criticism and onslaught, and also from the danger of being pushed to oblivion. Because of course it is true, structural functionalism dominated the scene, but while though it became a predominant theoretical perspective, there were so many inconsistencies, there were so many fallacies associated with structural functionalism. And let us remember that structural functionalism as a perspective is adopted in both two disciplines, that is sociology and anthropology. And anthropology is concerned with the study of simpler societies, and sociology is concerned with the study of complex societies. medium level and highly complex societies, but both agrarian and complex societies, sociology studies, whereas anthropology is concerned with the study of simpler societies. And most of the concepts that were formulated in the context of anthropology become somewhat they may lose their significance when they are applied to the discipline of sociology, or they have to be checked for their relevance. Straightforward or linear application of the concepts that were formulated in the context of anthropological discussions straight away to the domain of sociology may lead to several problems. So, therefore, Merton tried to resolve all these inconsistencies. Merton, he defined the concepts of functionalism, he distinguished and defined them coherently, and he also analytically gave contributions. Number first, he defined functions properly. Some says, because there was so much of confusion, what exactly confusion means? Okay, Durkheim talked in a very clear way, coherent way, function means to understand as impact. But later it became aligned with function with needs, function with motives, function with contribute something. So, there was so much of confusion.
Yeah. Similarly, we have functions and dysfunctions, latent functions and manifest functions.
Sir.
Can you analyze these?
Yes, sir. Yes, these are all contributions given by Robert King Merton. First starts from, he defined functions coherently. According to Robert King Merton, what he defined functions? He defined functions as those observable objective consequences. Let me repeat. According to Merton, functions are those observable objective consequences. Let me say, observable objective consequences that increase the adaptation of system. They become functions. What are dysfunctions? Not that every function, not that every contribution of an unit in society has functions. They may also have dysfunctions. What are those dysfunctions? He defined dysfunctions as those observable objective consequences that decreases or lessens the adaptation chances of society or any particular unit. This is called as dysfunctions. So, no one classified like this. So, Merton classified functions as function and dysfunctions. Function increases the adaptability of system, dysfunction decreases the adaptability of system. So, same concern was expressed in Durkheim in a different way. Durkheim talked about normal and abnormal, normal and pathological. Durkheim talked. Merton also went one step ahead and he classified functions into two types again. Manifest functions. Manifest functions are those intended observable consequences or intended observable actions or consequences that can be, they are intentional and they can be identified. So, they become manifest functions. But there are within the manifest functions or within some activities there are latent functions. Such latent functions are unintentional, unintended consequences that have to be recognized. So, they become latent functionalism. They become latent functions.
So, can you explain about the one more important concept of R.K. Merton, that is anomy?
Yes, sir. Anomy, what does anomy mean? Anomy literally refers to law of normlessness. I told you, whenever individuals interact in a situation, there will be norms. There are norms, they are unwritten norms that regulate the actions of individual. I cannot act out of my whims and fancies. There are some regulations.
Sir, do we have normless societies?
It cannot be present in absolute. It may be relatively present, especially during wars, especially during some crisis. So, a relatively normless situation. Durkheim coined this word anomy. Merton extended the concept of anomy. Merton, while talking about anomy, he pointed out there are two in every society. there are two things to action. One is culturally approved goals. What are culturally approved
Accepted.
goals? Accepted, culturally approved goals. Yes, I should become work more. I should become work more. I should work more. I should earn more. I should become prosperous. I should become rich. These are okay. There are no restrictions for this. Every is approved cultural goal. But how to become rich? How to become prosperous? How to become successful? There are institutional means for that. Right? There are institutional means for that. For that, yes, how to gain success? By hard working, by right knowledge, by applying the right principles. So, these are the ways to become to gain success. But success can also be pursued on wrong paths. So, therefore, there are not only cultural goals, but there are also institutional means how a cultural goal should be pursued. So, therefore, anomy refers to disjunction between culturally approved goals and institutionally accepted means. This is the clarity one should have. For Robert King Merton, anomy refers to disjunction between culturally approved goals and institutionally accepted means. Yes, that I want to become rich. How? By my hard work. By working hard, I should become rich. Not by doing some illegal activities, not by doing cheating something. So, therefore, in every society, in every cultural system, there are culturally approved goals and also society provides institutionalized means how to achieve them. Whenever individual pursues only culturally approved goals, but does not follow institutional means, that leads to anomy.
Okay. So, what are the postulates of structural functionalism?
Sir, what are the
postulates of
Merton's postulates of?
Yeah.
Merton's postulates of structural functionalism, sir. We can classify postulates of structural function. See, that I discussed. What happened? Since functionalism as a perspective is also a perspective in anthropology, since sociology and anthropology are sister disciplines, they have similar concepts, they have similar perspectives. But what happens? As I made it very clear, anthropology focuses on the study of people in simpler societies, whereas sociology is a study of persons in complex societies. The concepts and perspectives which are developed in anthropological context are simply applied in sociological context. Then there will be some challenges. Then that leads to some problems. For that, Merton discusses about three postulates, which Merton discusses about three postulates of functionalism. Number one, postulate of functional unity. Number two, postulate of universal functionalism. Number three, postulate of functional indispensability. So, Merton discusses these postulates of functionalism in the light of his discussion about Malinowski's theory of functionalism. Malinowski explicated his theory of functionalism in the context of his study of tribal people. But there, when we try to apply Malinowski's theory to complex industrial urban societies, then the problem starts. So, that is why Merton talked about these three postulates, that is functional unity. So, functional unity, that means functional unity means there cannot be what should I say, there cannot be any item that exists in society as like a function to serve. There may be what Malinowski says, that any item in culture or any, that means to say society, that has functions to serve. Merton does not accept that in complex societies. So, an item means a socio-cultural item or practice or rituals may not have functions, or some practices do not have any functions. So, we cannot argue that all cultural practices or rituals have functions to play. Second, universal functionalism. Here, universal functionalism, when it comes to what is important? the function that is being performed is important, or let us say, is the unit under consideration important, or the function played by that unit is important. Okay. Is a school important, or the functions of school are important? If the functions of education institution are important, there may be different types of institution. If there may be different types of education institution. So, a one education institution, so then what happens? There will be several functional, there will be several units or institutions exist to serve the same purpose. This leads Merton to talk about functional alternatives. The same function may be performed by different units. In one society, that type of function is performed by one institution. In another society, in complex society, the same function is served by another unit or another practices or another ritual. So, therefore, what we saw, so Merton, that is why he talks about functional alternatives or functional substitutes. So, these are the postulates of Robert King Merton. And last, before just I would like to mention one thing about Merton's contribution.
In 1 minute.
That is his contributions to middle range theories. So, middle range theories, Merton's significant contributions to the field of theory and research. What happened in sociology? There was a sort of like growing mistrust between theory and research. Theory went on depicting the reality in one way, it went on making abstractions, everything, okay, fine. But we have to ask a question, how far the proposition explanations made by theory are empirically variable? How far they are true? Can we check them? Can we verify them? Unless we verify the statements of theory, what is the use of theory? There is a Rutherford theory of atom, Bohr theory of atom. Finally, Einstein theory, we talk about now Einstein theory of relativity. So, every theories are being constantly tested.
Okay.
In a similar way, middle range theories, Merton talks about these aspects which are neither too abstract nor too concrete. In between they exist, like role, groups, relative deprivation, reference groups, role set, these are the things.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your explanation about the contributions of Talcott Parsons and R.K. Merton for the structural functionalism. Your lesson will help our students very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity.